There is no like one size fits all rule for sales. Your sales process has to feel really, really good for you. Whatever you're selling, it has to feel true for you. It has to feel authentic for you. And as I walk you through what my sales process has looked like over the last couple months, I really want you to know that I'm sharing this because it really is like an alternative perspective from what's on the internet. If you've ever looked at creators like Alex Hormozi or Cody Sanchez and thought, how on earth do they create so much content so consistently? The answer is actually pretty simple. They have teams. And that's the thing most people don't realize about visibility. At a certain level, it stops being about talent and starts being about infrastructure. Because the truth is, you don't need more ideas. You need more capacity. And that's exactly why I'm so excited to tell you about Workplay. For only $497 a month, Workplay gives you access to a global network of creators who essentially become your on-demand media team. Every quarter, you get a 7-hour brand shoot, photo or video, anywhere in the world. But what I love is that it's not just someone showing up with a camera. They help you think strategically about the content. They plan the shoot, they create the assets, and they help you actually get the content out into the world. Because let's be honest, most founders don't need to build an in-house media department. They just need access to one. And that's exactly what Workplay was designed to do. Visit the show notes to learn more about Workplay and what it could look like to finally have a media team behind your vision. All right, you guys, welcome back to Fame Ready, the podcast to show you that anything is possible. Yes, including fame. I am in my era of trying to like look cute for the podcast recording. I'm also in my era of like trying to find a different routine, like a new routine, because there's one thing that we always kind of say as business owners who are focused on growth and development. It's that we give up, or actually I should say, the cost of your old life, or the cost of your new life is your old one. Wow, I entirely butchered that. The cost of your new life is your old one. And I've been playing with this like interesting line of thinking over the last couple weeks. This one came to me, I want to say like 1 or 2 months ago, when I found myself on weekends needing to be in sweatpants, on the couch, not doing anything, quote unquote, resting, when the reality is I wasn't really resting at all. I was like working, but also like half listening to the TV, all while being in like a spiral because I felt gross about myself. And I have decided that I need to actually debunk what rest actually means to me. Because as someone who, and as I'm having this conversation, I realize my Ultra Human Ring is still on the charger, but as someone who has tracked her sleep and her movement and all of her vitals for months now, I realize that I actually don't need more like true like bodily rest. Okay. And so by that, I mean like being lazy, being a bit sloth, things that I like really, really love. But I realize I don't actually need as much of that as I think I did. And it's been really fun now, especially because it's summer here on the West Coast. So the weather is gorgeous. It's warm. I want to wear my cute outfits and go out into the world and sit on patios and all of that. I'm realizing that some of my most quote unquote restful experiences actually come when I am like out of the house, or maybe not like out of the house at a party or a social gathering, but like just being more in the flow of life instead of having to put like this, Mondays are a work day and this is what that looks like, and Saturdays are a rest day and that's what this looks like. I've started recording this podcast on weekends because I feel like I have more capacity to do it. I feel like I can take my time, doing the recording, doing the ads, not feeling like I've got to make sure I'm watching the clock so I can like get this done in time for something else. So we're just going through a little bit of a reset, which has been really nice. So if you're wondering like why I look so cute, it's because it's Saturday and I am going to swing by this like party that's happening at a spa. Not sure how long I'll stay for, but I'm like, if worst case scenario, I get a glass of champagne or a matcha and maybe buy a skincare product and then go work from a coffee shop for a couple hours. That sounds like a beautiful Saturday. But yeah, it's been a wild couple weeks. And when this comes out, I mean, I have been on top of my game now when it comes to podcast recording, and we're a few weeks ahead of schedule, which is really awesome. So by the time that you're listening to this, it is July in the midst of summer. You know, big brain energy is like simply a memory. And as I'm recording this, just like because I'm a transparent girly and I love to give you guys timelines, receipts, numbers, kind of the thing that I've become known for. Where when I'm recording this, it is just over a week from Big Brand Energy Live having happened. So what I want to talk about today is something really, really interesting. It's something that has been on my mind for weeks leading up to Big Brain Energy, and then obviously in the week, kind of closing it out. And we're going to talk about sales because I learned a lot about sales and not just like selling Big Brand Energy, but like going through the process of like learning what my sales process looks like for clients for growing my programs and my services in addition to selling an event. And what I want to kick this off by saying is there is no like one size fits all rule for sales. Okay. People will try to tell you this is how you sell someone. This is the format. This is the proper structure for a webinar. This is how you run a masterclass so it can convert at the end. If you don't convert from your live event, you're a failure. Like, we're going to dive in because I have learned so much about myself in this process. But I want the biggest takeaway, and I'm just going to say it so clear. I'm not even going to bury the lead. Your sales process has to feel really, really good for you. Whatever you're selling, it has to feel true for you. It has to feel authentic for you. And as I walk you through what my sales process has looked like over the last couple months, I really want you to know that, again, I'm not telling you that this is a process that I think you should use. I'm sharing this because it really is like an alternative perspective from what's on the internet. And I would be doing us all a disservice if I didn't tell you about how impactful it has been to find the sales process that works for me. So let's dive into it. So let's start with like pre Big Brand Energy because I'm feeling like I'm living my business in different chapters. So from let's say November 2025 till May 2026, I was obviously in this transition from finishing the last Big Brand Energy event, which was Big Brand Energy Sessions back in October. I went through a pretty heavy sales process where I was heavily selling my group program and I sold a ton of one-on-one clients into my highest ticket container. And then once end of January, beginning of February kicked off, I started selling event tickets and sponsorships. And I was still always signing clients in the background of that, but it really wasn't the forefront of my marketing efforts because I really just wanted as many people to come to the event as possible. While I had some really great recurring revenue from my client contracts while I was marketing the event, that really took the pressure off having to like sign more clients. And here's the thing, if you're listening to this and you are someone who's thinking about becoming a client of mine, I love you. You, at the time of this recording and this publishing date, you can still become a client of mine. You can join the Fame Ready Entrepreneur Program or become a Fame Ready VIP. I take on very, very selective one-on-one clients for longer term engagements. But if you're feeling like that would be most aligned for you, just never hesitate to reach out and we can talk about the best options. But I say this saying one day there will come a point in time when I don't sign clients anymore. My ultimate goal is to not be a coach or consultant for the rest of my life. I think those opportunities will always come to me because I'm really good at it and the work I do has a really big impact on the people that I serve. But to to run a big mastermind or to forever be in this kind of coaching world is really not my ultimate goal. And what I loved about having Big Brand Energy Live, my June event that just took place, that was an incredible revenue generator for my business. I run a profitable business, so I don't want that to be a secret. The profit margins on my event are about 50%. And that was an incredible, like running that event provided me with an incredible revenue stream of working capital over the last couple months. And that came through both sponsorships and ticket sales. So that's kind of what that looks like, right? And selling an event is different than selling like a coaching container, because the ticket cost is obviously so much lower. But when you're selling an event, you want people to have an experience. So as much as I might sometimes use the tangible outcomes that people create after a big brand energy event, while those are really fun to celebrate, for me, I'm less about what are you going to walk out of the event with, and more like, what are you going to experience? What are the women like? What am I like? What's the content like? Because when people are purchasing an event, they are purchasing an experience. They're not thinking that they're going to go to an event that then has a 12-month impact on their business. Although we all know that the right event can be the day that changes everything. Wink, wink. But that's really not what we're selling, because most people aren't thinking about events in that way. So when we're selling an event, like, it's more experiential, it's more like you want to give people a taste. And for me, I never wanted people to feel like I run Big Brand Energy Live as a sales funnel for my business. And I know what you're thinking, because if you've been around long enough and maybe you came to Big Brand Energy sessions in October, I did do a hard pitch at that event. If you came to the KO Your Brand Launch and Learn in March 2025, that was my OG event. Actually, it was really fun. At Big Brand Energy Live a couple weeks ago, we had like who's been like an OG who came to the very first event I ever did, and a couple women raised their hand, which was like iconic. But here's the thing, like, honestly, those two events, I did a hard pitch. I did a hard sell for the Fame Ready Entrepreneur Program at the end of each event. And I don't have a problem with that. You know, it worked. It did what it needed to do. I've talked about the results of both of those events in previous episodes, so you can scroll back and find them and listen. Those results are all there out in the open. But as I was building Big Brand Energy Live, I realized I was building something different, because as I built Big Brand Energy Live, I wanted it to be an experience. I wanted it to be something that people felt really good about, that people felt like was an asset in itself. I never wanted Big Brand Energy Live to be a sales funnel for my business, and I never wanted anyone to feel that way. Okay. I'm not Tony Robbins hard selling you on something at the end of whatever motivational workshop. Like, I said this the other day to someone, and I think I've been saying it a lot, and it just feels really good for me to say, like, Big Brand Energy is art. Like, for me, it's art. Like, it's an experience. Like, the art, I think there's a book called The Art of Gathering, like the art of running an event that truly impacts people. Like, you know, the event has been over for over a week now, and people are still dropping things in the group chat. People are still posting their post-event Big Brand Energy results in the group chat, because, you know, these women left the event feeling more confident, more excited, more clear on their goals, all of those things. And that's really, really beautiful. So the event is a container in itself. One of the biggest mistakes I see business owners make is spending all of their time working in the business instead of building the thing they're actually trying to become known for. Because every hour you're rebuilding a contract, chasing down an invoice, manually scheduling a call, or trying to figure out where a client is in your process is an hour you're not spending on visibility, relationships, content, speaking, opportunities, or growth. That's why I love Dubsado. Dubsado is the client management system I recommend for service-based business owners who want to create a more professional client experience without adding more work to their plate. It brings your proposals, contracts, invoices, scheduling, and automations into one place, So instead of constantly reinventing the wheel, you build the process once and let it work for you. And here's what I really appreciate. Your clients receive beautifully branded proposals, contracts, and invoices from the very first interaction. Because we all know that perception matters, and the way someone experiences your brand before they ever become a client impacts how they value the work that you do. More than 35,000 entrepreneurs run their businesses on Dubsado, including thousands of 6- and 7-figure business owners. You can start a free 21-day trial with no credit card required. Just head to Dubsado.com and use code Katrina Owens for 35% off your first year. You'll find the link waiting for you in the show notes. So I'll let you guys in on a little secret, because a month and a half ago, when I sat down to map out what I was actually going to share in the forms of my keynotes at the event, I was like, it feels like I have to do a pitch, because in the events that I've gone to, many of them over the last 12 months, many of them end with some sort of pitch. And as I wrote my keynote, which by the time this recording is done, or by the time this podcast episode is live, I should say, the recording of my keynote will be live on YouTube. It's called The 7 Deadly Sins of Visibility. So when that is live, we'll link it in the show notes. The 7 Deadly Sins of Visibility is this keynote that I wrote that was just from a really, really raw, real, authentic place. And as I wrote it, I just felt like it would feel so weird to do a pitch at the end. So I knew, while I had written a version of the keynote that had a pitch in it, as I would practice it in the weeks leading up, I would kind of get stuck on as soon as I would kind of finish the really juicy, interesting part of that keynote, and I'd have to practice the pitch, I'd be like, oh, this just is taking the art and the performance aspect out of it. It just feels gross. And so I had a great friend tell me, Katrina, your audience is warm enough. You don't need to do a hard pitch. The right people are going to work with you. And she was right. So before I get into all of that, I think it's just really important to state right here that it's important that you build things that are authentic to you. So big brand energy to me, it's not meant to be a sales funnel. It's not meant to feed a mastermind or my group coaching program, though it is a natural funnel in itself. It is not designed to be a hard pitch. And what was really interesting about not doing that is people had questions after the event. Someone questioned me on why I didn't sell at the end. And when I explained to them why, they didn't really seem to understand. And that's when I think the coaching industry has kind of lost the plot. We're allowed to do things and give people experiences and create things that don't always have to lead to some sort of sneaky pitch or hard sell at the end. It's just, to me, it's just a little bit gross. So as I sit here and record this, I have generated $40,000 in back end sales. So off of Big Brand Energy. So these are people who came to Big Brand Energy. Maybe they're current clients that upgraded, or brand new clients who ended up joining my program, working with me. My sales process is actually not finished yet. So I'm expecting to have a clearer idea of what those results are maybe in the next 24 hours or so. But I actually know more than that because of something that I'll mention in just a second. But I am so incredibly proud of my results because I did them the right way. And sure, is there probably someone out there that's like, yeah, but if you would have done a hard sell from the stage, instead of $40,000, you could have done $140,000. And to me, that doesn't really mean anything. I'm not someone who just feels like I need to convince people to work with me. I have never, since the day I left my corporate job, have never had to like convince someone that I was the best person for them to work with. And that's something that I just stand by. And to stand on stage and use urgency tactics or like weird funnel language or like list deliverables, like to me just takes the art out of the experience. And I am just so incredibly excited about the results that I have created through doing it my way. So let me tell you what my way in quotation marks actually looked like, because this is where I think we can like use a different perspective or like a refresh perspective. So obviously I didn't sell from the stage, but what I do have, so I throughout the day had like QR codes for my program. I never explicitly like stood up on stage and said, this is what the Fame Ready Entrepreneur Program is. This is why you should join. This is what's inside. These are the bonuses. I never did any of that. I do a couple different things throughout my event that obviously talk about it. So I do a panel called the Visibility Shift. The Visibility Shift includes women that work with me in my program because they are people who are doing big things with their visibility, taking bigger risks, seeing the results. So this is a tradition that I do at every Big Brand Energy event. And so obviously during the visibility shift, people are actively talking about working with me. And so I share a little bit about the program so people can familiarize themselves with it. At the very, very end of the day, I also like this was like at the very, very like final slide. I did put up a QR code for the Fame Ready Entrepreneur Program again and said something to the effect of, if you're interested in continuing to, be in my world and want to know what working with me can look like, feel free to scan the QR code and learn more. Okay. That was it. It was pretty soft. And then from Thursday, which was the event day, until today, had like just over a 7-day like email marketing funnel running that talks about the program benefits, what's included, blah, blah, blah. And that's been great. And then I did something that I never really seen anybody do before. I have to give a shout out to my friend Trish Ware, because Trish was the one who gave me this idea when we were at a mastermind a couple months ago. So Trish told me that she does something for her programs that's called a decision call. So a decision call is not a master class with a pitch at the end. It's not fluffy. It literally is, I'm going to run this call to tell you everything about the program so you can decide if it's right for you. So I decided that that's what I was going to do, because I, after the event, had like a long list of people who were interested in working with me, who had maybe like mentioned it in passing or said it directly or clicked the link in the emails, or even people who maybe had inquired about working with me like months ago. I put everybody on that list. And I reached out to each and every person just to like open the door on the conversation and say like, hey, this is the program. If you're interested, here are all the details, blah, blah, blah. If you have any questions, you can just ask me here. And so some people had questions for me specifically in the DMs. And then I thought to myself, you know what? If there are people who maybe I don't know are interested, but may come to a call or, may ask me questions if prompted, I want to give them that opportunity. So I ran this decision call and it was just positioned as that. My executive assistant sent out an email that was basically just like, we've got a lot of inquiries about working with Katrina. Here is what that looks like. On this call, she's going to talk about the process. She's going to talk about the some of the success stories that have come out of the process. You'll get like a behind the scenes look at what the program entails, and she'll talk about the bonuses. Like that was it. And when I decided to do that, I was basically like, I'm going to do this. And if nobody comes, I'm okay. If nobody comes, then, I just get my hour back. If people do come, then that's a bonus. And I had 7 people sign up for that call, which I was so proud of. It made my freaking day, because when I tell you I thought nobody was going to show up, I really did. So had 7 people show up to the call. And so now let me just give you the math on like where I stand kind of client wise now. So the funnel is still running. So basically there's 24 more hours left in kind of the bonuses and all of that. So I'm recording this a bit prematurely, but I'm so excited about what these results already are. So to me, the process is validated, and I just want to share it because I think it could help someone out there also who might be thinking about selling in a softer way like this. So basically, when the event ended, Big Brand Energy Live, like in person, there were a couple different people throughout the night at the after party or even just like simply after the event who like casually said, I'm really interested in working with you. Great. So the event in itself, like, obviously helped build authority and credibility for my business and me as a personal branding and PR consultant. Amazing. The next day, when I got home, I checked my email, checked my spam folder, realized I actually had an email from someone who said, hey, Katrina, your 2 deadly sins, like 2 of my deadly sins that I had talked about in my keynote, really resonated with me. Here are the 2. And then she asked some questions about my program, saying that it was like going to be a great fit for her. And I loved that because it also validated my talk. Okay. So I didn't have to do a full pitch at the end. My talk, my storytelling expertise, my story, my perspectives were enough to sign this person on as a client. She signed into my Fame Ready VIP tier, which is a $10,000 program. So check mark. In the nurturing phase, I also upgraded one of my current clients into the VIP tier. So that's an extra $10,000. And then in my like kind of voice note follow ups with warm leads, that brought me another $5,000 client. And then from the decision call, I have signed 3 more $5,000 clients to bring us to the grand total of 40,000, which I actually think is going to be 50,000 based on some of the DMs that I have, and the fact that I'm running this just for a little bit longer. So that's really exciting. And to me, the decision call felt really good because I think sometimes we like run these master classes with the intent to pitch and sell at the end, and you consciously know that that's what you're going to do. So it kind of messes with your energy. Whereas, like, when I showed up to the decision call, I knew that I had permission to sell and talk about my program. And that felt really good. And the women that did end up joining the program from that call literally reached out to me to say, hey, Katrina, thank you so much for doing that call. Like, I really liked it. And I loved being able to, like, because I literally pulled up my screen, shared the back end because I run the Fame Ready Entrepreneur Program in Circle. And so I pulled that up on my screen share on Zoom and literally showed them, this is what this is what Circle looks like. This is like everything that's inside. Here are examples of the speaking opportunities, the podcast opportunities. Here are examples of everything that's in the program. And this is what you can expect. And this is when the call times are. Like, it was literally logistical because at that point, I knew I didn't really need to sell people on me anymore. Like, people have seen me do all of the things. So at this point, it just becomes like, logistically, is this something you're ready to commit to? And so I was really, really proud of that. And I spent a lot of this week like really questioning, like, oh my goodness, like, did I do the right thing? Did I miss an opportunity by not doing a hard sell? Like, all of the things that we tell ourselves, I was questioning. And looking back, like, I didn't need to do that. Like, I could have just trusted that I know how to run my business because evidently I do. So now, going into the next couple weeks, I am so excited to share that I'm going to be launching pre-sale tickets for Big Brand Energy Live 2027. And that's been a really cool experience in itself because I might have even talked about it on this podcast, but when I decided to run this past Big Brand Energy event, I had no idea if I would do it again in 2027. I have screenshots of me talking to people, friends, clients who are like, when's the next event? And I'm like, I don't know if there will be a next event. So hold your horses. Come to this one because who knows, it could be the last. I could be like so famous by 2027. For me, And this is where I like struggle because I hate to be a hypocrite, but I actually think like for me, this isn't me being hypocritical. This is me seeing what works and building confidence and knowing that as humans, we can change our mind, because big brand energy was not something I thought I was going to commit to repeating, not because I didn't know that it was going to be an impactful day. I knew that, but seeing the impact that it has on my business as a personal brand, like we have to continue on. Like I've just scratched the surface. I've just run this very successful 100-person event, $30,000 in sponsorship, top tier sponsors, women coming from across the continent, more than 30 hotel nights, all of those things, really, really important. And I would be doing myself a disservice and my business a disservice if I didn't do it again, because I think now I have social proof. I have everything I need to make it a bigger, even better event, if that's even possible, next year. And so that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to launch pre-sale tickets for the 2027 event at the end of June. So by the time this episode comes out, tickets will be live, which is really exciting. So let's make sure we put those in the show notes. Because honestly, I'm already dreaming about the next event. I have some ideas on how it's going to be different, and we can unpack that in an entirely different episode. But to bring it back to sales, because it's pretty typical for an event to launch their like next year's tickets at that event or on that day. And again, I found myself questioning, like, did I miss an opportunity by not feeling convicted in my 2027 event at the last one? All the stories that we tell ourselves. But I know my answer is everything happens on the timeline it's supposed to. I actually like not having to sell from a place of urgency. I want everyone to make a very, very like confident, responsible buying decision with me. I never pressure anyone into buying. And I think that's why selling from the stage doesn't feel right to me anymore, because I'll be honest and say that obviously I had done it at previous events. But to me, I don't want people to feel like they have to make a decision that day. I don't want people to feel hyped up from like the energy in the room. I want people to make decisions from a very like grounded, responsible business owner place, because if we're building big businesses, which is the entire point of big brand energy, we need to make big grown up business decisions. And that means not making decisions out of scarcity or urgency or adrenaline. And so I'm really proud of that. So I know when I go to launch Big Brand Energy 2027 tickets next week, the right people who are excited about the event, who want to be there, will buy their tickets. And if they don't buy them next week because they want to wait or they need to know, like, okay, are those dates going to work for me? Blah, 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 all of the things. They're going to make that decision from a grounded place when they're ready. And that is all I could ask of people. And that feels like really like good and grounded for me to say out loud too. So with that, I'm going to wrap this up here. I like had some technical difficulties in the middle of this episode, so I'm hoping that, we didn't lose too much. But thank you for tuning in. Like I mentioned, Big Brand Energy 2027 is officially on sale. So feel free to head to the show notes to grab those tickets. And yeah, follow me at Katrina Owens PR on Instagram. You can follow the podcast at Get Fame Ready. And you can follow Big Brand Energy Live at Big Brand Energy Live on Instagram too. How fun is that? If you liked this episode, please rate and review wherever you listen to podcasts. And I'll see y'all next week, okay? Toodles.